Alrighty, what's good? It's your boy, Sergeant Hooked on Heroes, talking about the newest, brand spanking new episode of Kamen Rider Geats. This week leading off from last week's debut of Boost Mark II, right? This is a pretty good episode, kind of a nice in-between episode with what next week is bringing this actually tomorrow by the time I'm recording this is Friday, and tomorrow will be the next episode. Anyway, but I still liked it. I still think it had some good things to kind of chew on, and it confirmed a few things, and it was nice to have it anyway. So the way that the episode starts is really interesting. So they started up, and they start a Sengoku era game for the Yamato Grand Prix, right? And so we actually get this really cool sequence where Neon and Keiwa's in like ninja garb, and Neon has like samurai stuff on, are fighting the Yamato untransformed. It's so fucking cool. It is so badass. I love seeing the like unhensioned or unmorphed fights in Rider. You don't get them a lot, but when you do, they're a lot of fun. And it's cool to see how these characters can fight when they're not always using the powers right away. And also how they can throw around the mooks or henchmen around a little bit is really fun. But yeah, get a little extended sequence there. Some pretty cool and slick moves from both of them fighting for a bit. And still a lot of wondering about what's going on with Ace, right? At one point, Ace comes in full samurai garb with Boost Mark II. He fights. He sends, destroys a bunch of the Yamato and sends Michinoka running away with his tail between his legs again. Actually, Niram was part of this as well because Baraba has the vision driver, so she's able to control the game and make things happen how she kind of wants it to, sort of. And we'll get to that. There's some more stuff that happens here. So in between the rounds, we get some more discussion here. Jean finally reveals himself to Neon and Keiwa. Says that, I know you guys know Ace. Can you tell me more about him? They're going back and forth and talking about things and how his wish is to see his mother. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, that's a wish that that Ace has already had before, blah, blah, blah. And he's starting to figure out what's going on here. That there's clearly, as we know from last week's episode with the revelation of the wishes, that there's some reincarnation thing. We get more into that. So he's the whole episode spending it we keep flipping between him and the main plot, which is him trying to figure out more about Ace and what's going on with him, this reincarnation, Doctor Who regeneration shit. And also Ace feeling the after effects of Boost Mark II. Boost Mark II being the super form, if you will, has the the side effect of making him very tired. It's so fast that his body can't keep up with it. And so we actually see him in the beginning of the episode, actually dozing off and asleep in the little waiting area. So we also get some stuff with Niram and talking to the one lady that still haven't given a name to, and Time Fire Daddy, Nan's daddy, talking about how he's going to have to get more involved and take it more seriously and blah, blah, blah. I get the feeling that Niram's going to get screwed over pretty quickly, pretty soon. And I kind of hope he does because I think he needs to get the taste slapped out of his mouth. He's been acting way too hoity-toity about the whole thing. Like Baraba's just not a threat, but she is. So we get this really cool sequence because we talk about how the only way the vision driver works is if you have the correct thumbprint, right? Well, Chiram, the one goofy new, game master type guy who has his vision driver taken by Baraba, right? She has it now. Is with Sumari, and she's like, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to go straight to the castle, to where the Yamato are. I'm going to get my driver back. She goes, how? You suck. You suck at fighting. You're not going to be able to, you don't have your driver or anything. What are you going to do? So Baraba comes in with some Yamato, and she ends up, she throws some Yamato at them, and actually nobody's talking about this, but Sumari kind of beats ass a little bit. She kind of fights off a few Yamato on her own, which I thought was interesting, and does not really get her own ass kicked. I mean, she gets held down eventually, and then the thing happens with him. So you think he's going to die, but no. Baraba takes out her laser and shoots a little laser to his thumbprint and copies it, and then goes onto her thumb. Copies his thumbprint over hers because that's how you access the driver. She's not been able to use it to transform yet or its full capabilities yet, only able to use it to mess with the game, right? And give the certain power-up she wants to and change how the game is looking and whatever. But now she has full control. So we flop from this back to Jean, and he kind of confronts Niram and he says, I want to know more about Ace, and he kind of blows him off. And he's like, no, you need to listen to me. I need to understand this. With all those wishes and everything that's going on, there's something else going on here. Ace isn't the first Ace, is he? There was an Ace way back in the Sengoku period, I remember, and something Gomasu Asu or something like that. We get this really cool extended sequence showing that Ace has been reincarnated a bunch of times. One of his first wishes was to keep reincarnating, and that's why it kind of explains why he's so good at the DGP and why he's won so many times, because he keeps gaining the knowledge of his previous life. And what they do, the attention to detail is great on this, they don't keep him Japanese every time. They show him as a Roman, white person, if you will, and also as like almost like a Sherlock Holmes type character with a desire driver. But it doesn't always show, and it says that he didn't always compete in every DGP. He was there, but he wasn't always competing in every DGP, gaining knowledge and trying to figure things out. And that the wish to see his mother was a previous DGP ace that had that wish is what they wanted. That's why it didn't work for current ace. I think we're getting something where like all of these different lives within him and these memories are starting to swirl around and kind of screw with him, and that's why he seems manipulative. It's that he doesn't. I feel like they're going to get into a storyline where it's like they're all like kind of mixing with each other, and he doesn't know what's real and what's not, kind of a thing. Or he really does need to find his mom, and we'll see what that really entails, and that the mother of him or his previous incarnation is the desire goddess that's trapped in the statue. But it was really cool to see this. I think it was really interesting to see that like these different aces throughout history, and that happened, that they had, I wish for, of a different variant version of me to gain the power he'll need to save the world and to make his world right and blah, blah, blah. And that's what created the possibility of Boost Mark II even happening. With the power from the Desire Goddess. If you remember right from last week, when the Boost Mark II buckle finally became itself and from evolved from the Boost buckle and all the other ones attached to it, they mentioned in like Niram and the one lady and Time Fire Daddy and Neon's daddy mentioned that the Desire Goddess is activating and that her power is like helping to activate this new buckle. So yeah, we get that confirmation, and that's why he's doing that, and he doesn't really care that that's what it is. He just knows that, and it doesn't really have any bearing on anything. I think it will. And he though accuses, which I think is really cool, Jean. He's like, well, how come you haven't helped him more? Now that you know this, you should probably help him more. And he says something along the lines of the like, in life, or even his exuberant, victorious life, or his possible death will be something that will excite me. So it definitely paints Jean in kind of like a toxic supporter type light, almost like people that like girls that Twitch on stream, and they have those guys that think just because they donated such and such money that they're going to date them or give them something, or that they're with them or something. Similar thing here. I don't think Jean has feelings for Ace, but I think he just thinks that just because he supports Ace, that's all he needs to do. But now I think he's starting to see how important it is that the world Ace is trying to save is important to Ace, and it should be important to Jean as well. And it's stirring emotions to him for the first time. So later on, we have him and Ace getting to where Baraba's at. And Ace is asleep. He goes to save him. He falls asleep. He's fighting her and fighting some other people, whatever. And he kind of gets his ass beat a little bit. And he falls asleep. And he can't. He's out of energy. He can't do it. And so Jean goes in, transforms. Jean loading. And goes to try to help. And gets blasted back. He shoots a few times at her. She blocks it with her laser range visor. And she throws on the vision driver, and she transforms into Glare 2. So we're using Glare 2 again, which I kind of like it better in the paint job area than the original Glare anyway. Gazer was my favorite of that rider set, if you will. But Glare 2 is really cool. Almost, I like how it's Glare 2, like glaring at somebody, but also if you say it a certain way, it sounds like Player 2, which fits into like the video gamey, Fortnite battle royale-ness of everything. But anyway, so she transforms, and she uses the little control things on her two Jamato riders, which I think is weird. I don't know why she did that, because she already controls them. But anyway, and ends up fighting Jean and kicks his ass. And then her Jamato riders hold up Ace, and she points because one of them has Magnum, one of them has their Magnum pointed right at his head and fires. And we don't know what's going to happen. Clearly he's going to live. But yeah, so overall it was a pretty interesting episode. I like the little lore drop stuff about this whole reincarnation, regeneration cycle thing, essentially, if you're a Doctor Who fan. For Ace, I think it's really cool. I think it's unique. I think it's a way we haven't really done a main character or main rider in a while, or ever that I know of. And I like it. And I like how it sort of pseudo explains why he's so good at the DGP and why he's not surprised by things that even like when he was out of it for a bit and he got the memories back, he still like followed through with that plan because he's done it so long. He probably remembers some of it even without all of his full memories. So I really like it. Again, I really like Ace as a main rider. He's quickly becoming one of my favorites. And the show is also becoming one of my favorites because of this like slow feed, the slow drip feed for the lore is really, really good. And I really enjoy it. So I really like that. The action was pretty good. And I think it was cool that Baraba got the thumbprint verification she needs to use the vision driver now. It's to be seen if she's going to do anything with Michinaga in terms of a power-up, because if you don't know, on the Laser Raise Riser set, like the card for Jean is this, right? Little thing here. The other side, it shows Geats' symbol, showing that he supports him. So clearly she supports Michinaga, but she hasn't really given him a whole lot. And next week is the debut of Laser Boost Mark II, right? Like the combined form where the Laser Raise Riser helps control the Boost Mark II form and gives him his, combined form, right? So it looks cool, and I'm happy about it. I think it looks great. I think, honestly, I feel like it looks better in certain ways than Boost Mark II itself. But I'm just hoping that we copy that a little bit, and that the other riders, the other supporter riders who have supporters and the support riders do a similar thing of having the combined power thing. I think it would work. It would make them feel more relevant, because that's kind of the issue with more modern day rider, is that if you have more than like one or two riders, some of them start to feel irrelevant later on because they aren't getting the same power as, aren't able to keep up the same power level as other characters. It's a similar problem that happens in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, where certain characters are just so many more leagues and dimensions beyond power wise others that they seem like a joke, and it's like, why are we including them? But overall, it was a really entertaining episode. Really enjoyed it. I think it was pretty well put together. Score-wise, probably somewhere around 8.5 out of 10. I think next week's episode I'll like a lot more, just because it's a debut episode for for Laser Boost. But yeah, overall, a pretty good episode. But let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you in the middle? Thank you for sharing, for liking, for watching the video, subscribing, all that good stuff. As far as content this week, this review along with my King Oja review, I'm going to try to get my, Toku Toy View out for the Laser Raise Riser set. It comes with, I just got the original set that comes with the Raise Riser itself, and then Baraba and Jean's cards. And then it was the set that came with all that, and Boost Mark II, which I'm currently painting a little bit to be more accurate. So, but I'm going to do a longer Toku Toy View for both of those, because they kind of go hand in hand, honestly, as far as toys. And I did get a Figure Arts Geats, which I don't know if I'm going to do a full Toku Toy View on, or if I might just do like a TikTok on it, just to kind of show off the parts and how it looks and stuff like that. But yeah, so there'll be content. There'll be no new episode of the podcast this week, because tomorrow, as the day of recording this, is Friday, so Saturday, around 5:30, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, me, Squall Charleston, Thomas UGB, Christian Alsace, Antoine Alsace, Frankie, and Stickosaurus will be on the Tokusatsu Showdown again. This is the redemption arc, because myself, Squall, and Thomas UGB won our respective episodes. We're going up against the three people who lost, which is Frankie, Stick, and Christian. So it should be pretty fun. If you don't know what it is, follow Keza Henshin on all her social media, definitely on YouTube. It's a little game show she does where she randomly assigns a Sentai to each person that competes. I'm assuming it'll be a team thing, so we'll all three have the same Sentai, but I don't know. But anyway, a Sentai or a Rider season, and you have to kind of defend it not only to your opponents and to Keza, but also to the chat. And the chat kind of decides who does better and who wins at the end of it. They vote on certain things, and then that kind of tallies up and adds to like gaining points and stuff, and then winning. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because it really tests our knowledge, and you get to kind of show your stuff in terms of what you know and what you don't know. And there's a little like creative parts where you get to like sometimes create your own stuff to show off and talk about or whatever. So yeah, so definitely check us out. It'll be a lot of fun. What's cool is I just realized that everybody on it that's going to be on it tomorrow, we've had on the show as a guest other than Christian, which we need to clearly amend that. But yeah, so definitely stay tuned for that. Links will be coming. I'll try to grab links from Keza as soon as I can to send them out to everybody on Twitter, at Real Soul Rider Red, Sergeant Hooked on Heroes, and also the Henshins and Homies podcast channel Twitter account. And then I'll try to make a community post on both my page and the Henshins and Homies podcast YouTube page, just so people have multiple places that they can see those links and can click onto them for when the stream is going to be active. But again, thank you guys so much for supporting me so much. I really, really appreciate it so much. It really puts a smile on my face to be able to get on here and talk about these awesome shows and these badass toys with you guys. And yeah, it means a lot. It's a really exciting and awesome time. So thank you guys so much. But until next time, you stay hooked on heroes. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.